Hi guys, it's your girl Dr. E coming back at you again with a wonderful awesomeness, great day in Houston, Texas. It's hot here. I don't know where you are, but Texas heat is real heat. But things are great. Things are great. We're about 2 weeks out from the start of school, so I'm getting ready to go back into it with all that energy in the classroom, and I am so well rested. Let me tell you, to any of you that are thinking about having a huge surgery like a tummy tuck, a mommy makeover, a liposuction, please sure to give yourself plenty of time to heal. So, as I said before, I'm going to start moving away from the tummy tuck surgery into what I want to refer to as the shift, which is a change, atmospheric realignment, if you will, when things are moving from where you are into that next phase, that next chapter. So actually, I like to look at it or think of it as the atmosphere realigning itself to get you from where you are to your next chapter in life. Now, many of my friends are going through a shift. As a matter of fact, yesterday I had a wonderful celebration for a friend of mine who is going to go and teach abroad in China. She's moving away from her comfortable home to a place where she knows no one, does not speak the language, and has signed a 2-year contract to do that. So I am super excited for her for this event in her life. And if you can see in the background, you'll see some little Chinese lanterns. I had my whole house decorated and we had a brunch for her. So excited to celebrate our accomplishments. And a lot of my friends are going through career changes, and I'm going to speak strategically to that, but it could be any other change. It could be a relational change that's happening in your life, and you're trying to deal with that. So the one thing I can speak confidently about as someone who's 56 years old and I have matured into this is that change is constant. We're either going into something or coming out of it. So never get too comfortable with status quo. That doesn't really last long. So you're going to be transitioning throughout your life, and the most important thing is how you respond to change, how you manage yourself, because a lot of things you have no control over. So with that said, I'm going to talk more about the shift, as I like to call it, shifting from one place to the next. And if any of you are, let's say you've worked in corporate America and you feel an uneasiness, like there's nothing really right with anything you do, there's always something wrong, and you've been doing the same thing for several years, then you know that there is probably an atmospheric shift that's happening. And let me give you my own story. I don't know yours, and let's see sort of where we compare. So when I was turning 40, I'm a goal-driven person. I'm driven by task. I got to have this before I'm this age. I sort of, try to be a super planner. And that is a fault of my own. So before I turned 40, I needed to run a marathon and build a new house. Those were some life goals that I had for myself. And then I started thinking, I need an MBA, because I don't want to be, I was working in an oil and gas company as a corporate paralegal, and I sort of had, my head had kind of hit the ceiling on that, and I wanted to move around in the company. I didn't like the job, but I did enjoy the company. And I was a single parent. I had two daughters, and I wasn't married at the time. So I had all these goals for myself, and I looked at, where I was at 38, and I was nowhere near them. So I was working like a Trojan to try to get these goals done. So I went back to school, and it was a company benefit that we had college reimbursement. So I really convinced everybody in my department that they should be going to school. So all the secretaries were going to school. It was sort of like almost like an uprising. At least it looked that way, and it certainly was not my intention. But everybody was in school trying to get to that next thing. Well, at least I wasn't aware of it. Corporate was not, at least management in my department was not really happy about this funding coming out of their budget to people that were not going to be lawyers. You know, we're all trying to go to the next thing, and none of us really wanted to be a lawyer. So the legal department was paying for a lot of education that it was not going to benefit from. So things started becoming kind of compressed for me. I could feel a tightness. So I could pretty much read the things that were on the wall. So I started, you know, like decluttering, I should say, and took all of my personal belongings home. Now I still showed up every day. I still did my job, but I was really trying to go somewhere else, and they were telling me that I couldn't go. So I was kind of like in a lockdown mode. So I didn't know what the future held for me there, but I could feel things changing. Before I was wonderful. Now it was like, oh, you're really not as great as you could be. Or is it, you know, it's not as good as you used to be. So I got that MBA. I ran that marathon, and I also purchased a new home. But something was going wrong in the real estate transaction. I wasn't really sure what it was. I was selling a home and buying a home. So there was two transactions going on at the same time. So I'm a bit of a control freak. At least I like to be knowledgeable about decisions. And it was a big financial decision. So I went to real estate school and got my real estate license. So, all right, so I'm 40 now. I have a real estate license. I have a new home. I didn't make the full marathon, but I did run a half, and I have an MBA. And I'm working for a major oil and gas company. So then I got affected by a reduction in force, and now I have no job. So let me recap that for you. I have an MBA, I have no job, and I have a new house. And by the way, my oldest daughter is now in Atlanta in college. So all I have is this real estate license. And what I did was I took my email list when I left this corporation, and I started marketing properties because now I have no job, but I do need money. I have some really, really big expenses now. So that's how my real estate career was birthed. Now, fast forward, 16 years from then, I am now teaching entrepreneurship. I have an even larger home that I live in. Both of my daughters are in education. So what I'm saying is, what was uncomfortable then, and then that loss of income then, was really what fueled me into my new path. So I never would have gotten to where I am today if it had not been for the pains of the movement that happened to me in my 40s. Now, could I have stayed there in that job? Yes, I would have been there working for someone in a company, but it was not where I was supposed to be. So this shift thing that happens usually propels you to the next place. Now, if I have friends now that are also going through this shift, and they're angry about, why did this happen to me? And those of us that have moved past that can see the writing on the wall is that, hey, listen, although you were uncomfortable in that job, you probably never would have left. You would have stayed there. You would have been miserable for many more years until something happened to finally get you to move, or maybe you would have decided to move. But the thing is that there's something better ahead. And in order to get you from that place where you are now, where you've either you probably grew into it, but now you've outgrown it. And so to take all the talents that you have now, it's just really preparing you for the next phase. So how do you strategically move from one place to the next? Because remember, you have no control over what's happening. The only thing you have control over is how you respond to it. So I am shifting. Now, I don't feel that I'm being pushed out of a position, but I feel like I'm not being elevated to what my true potential is. So I've outgrown where I am now. I'm really good at what I do, but I could do so much more. And I feel like that's going to be up to me to make that next phase. So while I'm in the position that I'm in now, I'm not going to be bitter about it or depressed about it, because remember, I'm empowered. I am creating my best version. So I am really, really excited about what's going to happen this year. And you never know who you're going to meet or who's watching. So be very, very careful of how you respond to things. Don't be bitter, and don't take it personal, because remember, people are conduits for energy that's going to propel you to the next thing. So don't get caught up in that. Just get your head right. So in order for us to start talking strategy, which we're going to talk a lot of strategy in the next videos that I'm going to make, and I'm going to have some of my friends come in and talk about it. We're going to, I need you to wrap your head around some things. I need you to get your head in the game, so to speak. So get your head into the fact that, hey, listen, I am moving from this position in life to my next chapter in life. And in order to do that, I need to have the right mind frame. So be happy about this thing, because a lot of people are being used in the process to propel you to the next phase. So don't get angry with them. And go out, and when I say go out, move with some energy. You know, don't say, oh God, look at how they left this place. Make it so that your next replacement, whoever is going to be you in the next phase, is going to be like, wow, I got a lot to live up to. They really had it going on here. I have this exercise that I do with my students in career prep, where they have to hire someone and they have to look for soft skills and hard skills. And so I told them, I said, listen, I want you to find a new teacher that's going to replace me and be the next person. And they're like, well, they have to have a doctorate. I'm like, why do they have to have a doctorate? You know, you don't need a doctorate to be a teacher. They're like, yes, in order to be our teacher, in order to replace you, we are looking for someone that's just like you with your skill set. And I was like, whoa, this is really good stuff here. But I had to bring them down, but I saw where they were coming from, and I like it. And so that is the impact that you want to leave on people, is that you were phenomenal. You are irreplaceable. But we know everybody is replaceable, but they want to bring in someone with the same energy, the same attitude, the same motivation, the same skill set. This is what we are working on. Now, before, in my youth, I'd be like, I'm out of here later for you guys, Don't let the doorknob hit you where the dog should have bit you. I would be angry about being pushed. But now I feel it more like, a little nudge, like, hey, listen, we got something better for you down the line. So now I'm going to, strut and smile and be enthusiastic and energetic, because I am a professional. I am good at what I do. I have a lot of potential. I have a lot of purpose. I am a unicorn. And I want you to think of yourself as a unicorn too. Now granted, I've had an awakening this past summer. I'm extremely rested. I feel really, really good in the place that I'm in. But in order to create the best version of yourself, sometimes it's not external at all, it's internal. And so it's internal that's going to be reflected out. So be careful about allowing people to push your buttons, guys. So I want you to be mindful of this. We're going to start talking more strategy, but I need you to get your head in the game. All right. So until next time, this is Dr. E signing off and encouraging you to be the very best version of yourself. Take care, guys.